tonight, Paul Lozito. He was actually the veteran of the game tonight, honored by the Mets. First of all, we thank you for your service. That's the most important thing. But Paul has a really cool Mets connection. He was a bat boy at the Polo Grounds and then the first 2 years at Shea Stadium. And he's got the picture right here. He's the bat boy with the '64 Mets team the first year at Shea. Paul, when you look back on those years, is there one moment that stands out? It had to be so cool as a 14-year-old kid through high school to be amongst those players.
It was just an amazing feeling, Steve. I was a diehard baseball fan, loved the Mets through and through. And then when I got this opportunity to work at Shea Stadium and the Polo Grounds, and the individuals you met, I actually got to meet Casey Stengel in his first year. And he was just such a showman. And, you know, the team was really bad then. And, you know, he filled the house. Giants and Dodgers come in, stadium was packed. It was the amazing Mets.
Now, the stadium was packed, but you were telling me before, he might have been the one with the least amount of energy at times.
Casey was really a wonderful, wonderful manager. However, when he was with the Mets, he was getting up there in age, kind of like me right now, and occasionally he'd take a little nap in the dugout. So he'd be napping in the dugout, and back then we had a player by the name of Rod Cannell, who was one of Casey's favorites, but he was a character. So while Casey was taking a little nap, Rod Cannell gave him a hot foot and told the whole team, and you see Casey just jump up. I mean, it was something I'll never forget. It was amazing.
You know, you were present for so many great moments. Is there one game that stands out above the rest for you?
Well, one of my favorites was, and this was a little ironic because I had finished being a bat boy, I was drafted into the Army, and I came back in 1969, and Herb Norman, the clubhouse manager, let me suit up and be an honorary bat boy. And that was the very famous game where the Black Cat ran across the Cub dugout, and the Mets went on to sweep right into the World Series. That was very memorable. And also the 1964 All-Star game at Shea Stadium. The National League All-Star outfield was Hank Aaron, Willie Mays, and Roberto Clemente. Just think about that.
I mean, it's an incredible outfield. Was there one player that you interacted with, either on the home or away side, that always stood out to you as Rosario laces one down the right field line? He's headed for two, rounding second, and goes in safely with a triple, and Paul gives it a nice thumbs up right there.
Absolutely. Two of the players that really stood out for me were Eddie Kranepool, who, kind of ironic, he wasn't much older than me when he was playing for the Mets, and he lived in not too far from where I was in the Bronx. And of course, Pete Rose, unfortunate what happened to him, but when he was a ball player, he stood for everything I would try to be on a baseball field. But there are so many of them. Every experience I had with them was just top-notch.
What about Sandy Koufax? We have a picture that you sent us of you and Sandy Koufax, both in Dodgers uniforms.
He was the greatest pitcher I ever saw. And aside from being such a great pitcher, one of the nicest human beings you ever met. He was amazing. I think he's the greatest left-handed pitcher that ever lived. He was something to see. And when he was pitching against the Mets, you know, it was hard to root against him. He was just such a classy individual.
Paul, you are a classy individual, my friend. I really appreciate the time. We could spend hours talking to you, but this was such a thrill, so much fun. And again, thank you so much for your service. It's the most important aspect of all of this.
Thank you so much. And just one thing I'd like to say, thank all the men and women. And you,
100%. Thank you so much. Gary, back to you.
Thanks, David. Thanks so much to Paul. That was superb.
Outstanding.